Hi, and I got my Colorado hat on too. What? Welcome to the Tuesday Night Health Coach Huddle, everyone. My name is Lynn Ann. This meeting is a place where we can all stay connected with our fellow coaches and also showcase what health coaching looks like in real time. Everyone is welcome to invite people to join us who are interested in learning how to assist other people to become healthier. This meeting is being recorded and it will be posted to our coach Facebook group as well as on Vimeo, which is at vimeo.com/healthcoachhuddle. As a reminder, we recommend you have paper and something to write with, some handy dandy notebook. When you hear things that are interesting and fun that you want to write down, and especially if someone says something that reminds you of someone that you want to connect with or follow up with. Okay, this is the moment when we want to welcome our first-time guests. So if you are new, please unmute yourself, or you can also wave and tell us who invited you and how you know them. Anybody?
Come on.
Anybody new?
I know somebody that hasn't been on for a little while, and I want her to say hello. And you know who you are, Dawn Hurst.
I took that hint. Hello, everybody.
So
good to be here.
Tell us whose team you're on, where you're from.
Well, Carrie Armstrong is my coach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Spokane.
Spokane, Washington. Welcome to Tuesday night.
Thank you.
We're glad you're here. Oh, and Genevieve, you've been here before. It just said Jen, and I'm like, okay, who's the mystery Jen? Looks like everybody else has been here, which is great. So cool. Thank you for the intro. By the way, we're going to have Irving intro the call next week. So he just heard that for the first time, and so did the rest of you. But great job there, Lynn Ann. We're going to be having more and more people kind of do the introduction. Gives you a little bit of some excitement that you get to launch our call. So anyhow, tonight's is actually, I was talking with Dawn a little bit, Dawn Carpenter a little bit, just about different types of topics for client support. And we actually, something that's been coming up a ton this week is how, and I had a conversation with Christina today, I had a conversation with Bessie, I had a conversation with a number of people about, how do we coach people when we're not as motivated as we were when we started, because things aren't as bad as they used to be. They're better, but they're not where we want them to be either. We're kind of in that in-between phase, and how come I can't keep the wheels on kind of a thing. So I'm actually the host of the Habits of Health call this week, and I talk about horseshoes, hand grenades, and the 5-in-1, and how close enough doesn't count when you're trying to do the 5-in-1. And so that'll be tomorrow night at 5:30 Pacific. So that might be something good. But we're going to actually talk a little bit about, how do we actually work through these kinds of situations. And I want to toss this over to Dawn and just kind of, she can set up the call a little bit about what prompted this and kind of help us unpack this conversation. Dawn Carpenter, welcome.
Okay, thanks, Greg. Yeah, you and I started this conversation. It just seems like oftentimes this time of year, around the holidays, people get really distracted with all the holiday events. And if they've had some success with their health journey so far, maybe they've lost, 10, 15 pounds or down a size. They're feeling pretty good. They might still be a long ways from their goal, but the pain isn't there anymore. The clothes are fitting and people are commenting and they're starting to feel better about themselves. And so, what I find even on my own health journey is I need to be reminded from time to time what's really my motivation for wanting to continue. And so I think that's where this topic all kind of came together, in that, we want to kind of look at some ways that we can help clients when they get stuck, and, some potential, scenarios that we can kind of talk through. So, giving them that strategies, helping them to aim, so awaken intrinsic motivation so that they can actually stay and work on those strategies. Because if we just give them strategies and tips and things to do, that's not really going to help if they don't have, that motivation coming from inside. So we've got some questions.
Do you guys know what AIM stand like? AIM, awaken intrinsic motivation. Anybody want to take a stab at what you think that means, or how you understand that to work?
Yeah, I think when you use the word intrinsic and matched up to motivation, you're talking about I'm thinking that it's a type of motivation that comes naturally to you, that maybe you're born with a certain will to get something done, and so maybe there's a natural instinctive motivation that comes from you, an inherent motivation, I guess you could.
Yeah. And so what would be the opposite of intrinsic? Extrinsic. So extrinsic might be from outside, from others. So others motivating you. And intrinsic means it comes from within. It's something you want because you want it. Doesn't really matter why. Just means it's something you want. So we have to, sometimes there's an intrinsic motivation to want to feel healthier than you currently do, but it's kind of dormant. It's kind of gone to sleep. And as coaches, we learn the art of awakening and then stoking that intrinsic motivation to say, you know what? I do want that. And I don't want to wait any longer. Like, I want to go get that. Right? And so Dr. A talks about AIM, awaken intrinsic motivation. That is the first step. And then he says, aim to stay. And stay is another acronym. Does anybody want to take a stab at what STAY stands for? Some of you guys have been coaching for a little while. Strategy, tactics, yep, actions, and then the Y stands for you and yours. So it's your strategies, your tactics, and your actions for you, and then yours, as in your clients, the people that you're working with. So you have to aim first, and if you're not aimed, you won't stay. Imagine, if you will, that let's say I'm working with Lynn Ann, and Lynn Ann's struggling with her program, and we just keep talking about strategies. Well, maybe if you do this, well, maybe if you do that, well, what if you try to do this? Well, what if you try to do that? Well, maybe you can wake up earlier and you can do this, and nothing's sticking. It's because she doesn't have the intrinsic motivation where she says, get out of my way, I want that, right? That kind of thing. So you don't want to keep giving them strategies and actions. You have to go back and it's called aiming. And I came up with a re-aim. You have to re-aim. And you got to continually awaken that intrinsic motivation. Once they're awakened, and let me give you this analogy. Let's say that I'm working with Dawn, for example, any of you, and I'm sitting there awakening you. You're just like, you are ready to, like, you're at the starting gate and you're ready to race. And I keep getting you pumped up and I keep talking to you about getting started in the race. Eventually you're going to say, get out of my way. I want to take action. I want to go. Let's go. So you can't, when you're aimed, you got to point them with the strategy and tactics and actions. when the strategies and tactics and actions, there ain't going anywhere, you got to go back and have a reawakening conversation. Is that any questions or clarity on that? It's a really deep concept. Go ahead, Lynette.
I don't have a question. It's reminding me of something that I read back in my teaching years, and maybe Don and Kelly can say something. But I think William Glasser did some writing about that, about the extrinsic motivation, and you're trying to make somebody do something. You're trying, you said you will do this way, and I know what's good for you. And then the person will, as soon as that pressure is off, or the threat or whatever it is, right, they're just going to revert back to what is normal and natural for them. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have that hook of what is driving them within themselves, that fire, they're not going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And when the pain goes away, because they'll get some success, and all of a sudden you're not fat anymore. You don't look in the mirror and go, yeah. You look in the mirror and go, But you're not going, yeah, yet, right? But you're not frowning. You're not smiling. You're sort of in that, well, it's okay stage, right? Anybody had that? Yeah. Yep. So if pain's not pushing and desire's not pulling, you're stuck. So we have to go back and reawaken that desire and remind you, now, why did you do this? And try to kind of develop something that'll pull you. And so this is a process. I talked with Christina a little bit today. This conversation is like the conversation. I don't know about you guys, but are you guys having this conversation like a ton, or your people are just sort of stuck and they're like, oh, I'm struggling. Have you ever heard someone say, I'm struggling? What's the difference between if they were to say, well, I'm fighting? Think of the difference between the word struggle and fight.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, like, Dawn, what do you think the difference there is from struggle to fight?
Well, that is such a great question for me, Craig, because I remember very, very well being stuck in my health journey. And I don't know if you remember this, but it was like week after week after week, you'd call me and I'd be going, oh, I'm struggling. And you really challenged me to reframe my thinking. And when I started thinking about the differences between those two words and the visual picture, it dredged up in my head. It was huge, because struggling, I picture myself out in the middle of a big rocky sea and I'm just trying to keep my head above water and I'm grasping for every breath. However, if I think about fighting, I've got the boxing gloves on and I'm ready to go for it. And I am in a very different frame of mind. And so, yeah, the difference is huge between those two.
So here's something, you guys can post this in the chat. If you're struggling, do you think you're struggling with your future or your past? And if you're fighting, do you think you're struggling with your future or your past? You guys throw that in the chat, what you guys think. Struggle equals past or future. Fight equals past or future. What do you guys think there? Yeah, exactly, Carrie. Good stuff. Victim or versus victor. Yeah, that's right. So when I say I'm fighting, I'm looking for where I'm going. Yeah. I fight for what I want. I don't fight for what I don't want. I struggle with what I don't want. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you. So it's weird how just the mindset, I'm really struggling this week. Why are you doing that? Why don't you fight? Either one has a sword, it seems like. You're struggling with what you don't want, or you're fighting for what you do want. So there's some questions that you can ask, and they're awakening questions. Do you have a couple of that you want to share with us, Dawn? Or maybe you guys, actually, Dawn has some. I'm sure you guys that have been coaching for a little while, if you got that question that you ask, get ready, because I want you to share that with the group. Dawn, what do you have?
Well, I think a great awakening one when I'm talking to clients is, just tell me again, what were some of those reasons that you wanted to get healthy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Irv, I know today we talked with a couple of people there during the week 1 celebration call. And did you notice at the beginning some of the questions that I were asking them? And does it make sense? Why? Do you want to share a little bit on that with us?
Yeah, I do. I think there was a lot of value behind that because one, it keeps them focused as to what they were getting into in the first place. Why? Because you tend to lose sight as you get into the journey, right? And so when you get in that fog and you start getting confused as to why you're doing this, you asked about the whys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of folks were kind of confused about what the whys were. They couldn't remember what that was about, and so you refreshed them as to why they said in their own words decided to go on this journey to kind of reinforce and remotivate them, to keep fighting the good fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So we're going to do a little bit of practice, but there's a couple, you can come up with your own terms, and I actually want you to own this. Somehow find the words that will bring them back to why they started when things really sucked. When the pain was great, what did they want? And oddly enough, the more you do this, I'll ask people, what do you want? And they answer with everything they don't want. It's really interesting. Well, I don't want to have knee pain anymore. I said, but what do you want? I don't want to hurt anymore. Well, but what do you want? I'm not asking you what you don't want. What do you want? Do you want to run pain-free? That's something I want to add, not something I want to take away. So try to find your own words to help refocus somebody. And as you become better at this, when you're talking with your clients, maybe when you're talking to yourself. Now, why was it that I wanted to do this again? Well, the Dr. A said, is the juice worth the squeeze? Because the squeeze is hard, isn't it? And so sometimes we just focus on the squeeze and we're like, this is so hard. And we forget why we're doing all this. We need to just kind of, wait a minute, why in the heck am I doing this anyway? Oh, that's right. Because I'm not getting any younger and I want to do these things. I still got stuff to live. I'm not dead yet. Right? Yeah. So here's a couple of them that I've come up with over 7 years. Remind me again why you started this whole process anyway. Right? Simple. Tell me what you want to change. Tell me what you want to do. Why do you want to become healthy? A new one from just this week is, hey, can you give me your top 5 healthy bucket list items? Kind of as a way of talking about something kind of a big deal. Mm-hmm. And why is it again that you want to be healthy? Tell me about that. And then here's a classic one. When they answer you, say these 2 magic words. What else? And be quiet. Let it be really uncomfortable. Because when it's quiet, it's because they're thinking about what else. Just let it be quiet. Right? Another one is, tell me more about that. And just be quiet. Somebody there said today, as I was talking to them, I said, so tell me what it is, and you guys see this in your 3-way chat messengers. If you're in there, when you bring on a new client, you start a 3-way message thread and you introduce us all. And the first thing I ask them is, tell me why you decided to partner up with so-and-so. What do you want to do? Well, I want to feel better. I want more energy. And those are the main 2. And I just want to be healthy, is what they say. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so just like everybody else on planet Earth, it doesn't have any tangible, how do you know when you've got there? All those things are something that can happen sometime in the future, right? So I'm like, well, if you want to have more energy, the next question is to do what with? If you want to be healthier, why? right? It's got to have something that has some hooks in it, or it ain't going to do you any value. So we're going to do some breakout rooms, because I know we've been loving the breakout rooms. I've been getting a lot of comments from you guys that you're digging these breakout rooms. And basically, you can ask the questions. One of you ask a question. So tell me, maybe the first question is, are you as healthy as you want to be? They'll say no. And you say, well, what do you wish was healthier? What would you like to improve? What are you working on? What do you wish was better? And then let them answer it, and then say, tell me more about that. Or just ask a follow-up question to dig a little deeper. And you want to get to something that is specific, measurable, right? That's the S and the M, SMART goals, specific and measurable, right? You want it something that you can say. It's like this lady sent me a picture of these. You'll meet her soon. Her name's Adriana. Irving's already met her, but she's not a client or a coach yet, but she will be. She sent me a picture of these blue pumps. She says, I'm going to wear these. And I'm like, man, I'm so glad you sent me that picture. I said, make it your phone's like startup screen. I want you to look at that every time you look at your phone. She's like, oh, I want those pumps. And it's pulling her towards them, and that's the kind of stuff I love. So we'll have some more discussion around this, but I want you to basically explore what this looks like, to awaken, to find out what somebody wants, to dig in a little behind the first question, maybe kind of pursue, well, what would that look like? Well, how would you know when you're there? Someone says, I want to be healthier. Well, how will you know when you're there? Right? So think of these kind of questions behind the question, and let's see what we can do. We'll give you guys a good 5 to 7 minutes to kind of get in. And when you're done, just leave your breakout room and come back to the main room. All right? Here we go.
That was pretty cool, Sensei.
Good. Who was your partner, buddy?
I had, is it Jim?
No, Jim
Right.
here.
Bye.
Christina, who'd you work with?
I got to have a nice conversation with Jen.
Genevieve. Nice.
Yes. Oh my gosh, she is. I think I love her. Like I just feel like this is like she was meant to be in this group.
Wow.
I really do. Yeah, she's pretty. She's got a pretty great spirit behind that. I like it.
Thank you, Christina.
So, I'm hoping.
Yeah, girl, get it.
I'm hoping this was helpful for you guys, and I'm actually curious. You guys can, if you'd like to share, I'd love you can raise your hand down in underneath participants. You have the ability to raise your hand, and then I can see and I can call on you guys. But I'm loving hearing like what this experience was like for you, and this is a soft skill that actually is something that many people don't know in our culture. Just how to ask good questions, how to dig in and find out. It's like what makes their heart sing. I try to visualize words that kind of, it's hard to express, but what do they come alive about? What gets them going? Like when you're at an event and you stand up and you go, wah! One of those things. What makes us do that? Because there's things that make us do that we get fired up about, and we want to get it done. We see something, we hear something, we experience something, and you're like, you hear a song and it makes you want to go buy the whole album. You've awakened intrinsic motivation that made you want to go purchase the thing. And Christina and I have been having long, important conversations around this. And so Christina raised her hand. So go ahead and unmute yourself and kind of share a little bit about what you're learning, and maybe even tell about Penelope if you choose to.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Craig. So this call's being recorded, so I'm just gonna hold my tongue a little bit. But I love you, Craig, so thank you. Okay, first, Jen, I want to just say she's fantastic. I found out that she's gonna surprise her husband in the spring when they're gonna go on vacation, and she's gonna get on a plane, and she's gonna lose so much weight that she is going to feel so comfortable in that plane seat. And I told her, I said, you should probably have your camera ready when your husband sees you, because you're going to want to take a picture of his face. Because heck yeah, this girl's getting her sexy. I'm just saying. So anyways, I'm loving it. So let me just share. So I needed to re-aim because I lost 110 pounds and I lost the push. The pain stopped pushing because it wasn't very big anymore. So the strength of the pain was like almost irrelevant. And then the desire wasn't strong enough to pull me. So I went out and I found a new desire. And I went out and actually bought a pair of jeans. I spent $20 on a brand new pair of jeans that I do not fit into. Crazy. I'm just saying, it's crazy. But they're a size 8. This girl right here is going to fit into those size 8s. Why? Because they're in my face and I'm spending time with them. And Craig said, Christina, you need to spend time with your dreams. You need to hang out. You need to hang out with them. Like, put one leg in those pants or write a story about those pants. So guess what I did? I wrote a story, started writing a story about those pants. And guess what? I even named the pants. Craig helped me. Her name is Penelope. These pants have already had a journey, but not with me. Not yet. These pants are going to go on all kinds of stuff with me, and I'm writing short stories about them. So now I have to share it, Craig. Shame on you. Shame on you.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is doing something in me that I didn't think that I could find again, even though I lost 110 pounds, I didn't think I could find that pull again. And this is helping me find that pull. So I just want to say it's doable and get her done. And, just let's just kill it. Let's just show the world that being healthy doesn't have to suck.
Mm-hmm.
So
thanks, Christina.
Yeah.
Who wants to go? Who has something else about this awakening process? Maybe something you learned about yourself or something you learned about the person you spoke to. Who wants to go next?
I can.
Yes, go for it. Go ahead.
I was talking to Jim. I was very, very impressed with his and his wife's journey. So his wife lost 60 pounds. He lost 110 pounds. And with himself, his goals were to have improved health and more activity, but he had a really good tangible goal, and that was he wants to run this. He wants to compete in the sprint marathon, triathlon. I'm sorry, which is a half-mile swim, 18-mile bike ride, and a 3-mile run. And today he's within a pound of achieving his goal. I mean, when he wakes up tomorrow morning, he's there. And I just thought that it was impressive, that journey. And he said he followed the process. He didn't have any pains about going through it. And it was just really, really impressive. And I'm glad that I had the opportunity to talk to him, with tomorrow being that milestone.
Yeah, good job. That was great. He's definitely being pulled. He's clearly latched on to the pull. And it either pulls or it doesn't. There's no faking it, by the way. Jim clearly got hold of that pull, and no question is it pulling. 6 months and 110 pounds. Take that. There's some pull there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So going through this, Jim, when you were talking to Irv, did this awaken or give you, what did you learn from this process?
In talking with Irv, I'm thinking his hot button is talking about the Marines, because he's on the same journey. I mean, he's got some incentives. high blood pressure, not getting there. I mean, not having that issue, not having, he's pre-diabetic, so trying to lose weight. Doctor said, hey, either lose weight or you're going to be on some meds. And his tangible goal, he wants to run the Marine Corps Marathon in next October. So I see some serious pull with that man too. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Who else wants to share? Mary, did you have something? What did you learn from this awakening conversation? Here, I'll unmute you there. There you go.
There. Yes. Well, I was speaking with Carrie, and we had met before, but it was nice to catch up with her again. And every time that I've met her, she's just been real motivational for me.
And when you were asking, did you learn something about kind of the awakening, like how to get past the general, if you did or not, it's okay. Just what did you learn about that whole process of kind of diving in and getting into something more tangible?
Well, I think everybody kind of hits a plateau and they got to push through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Not you and not Jim. Maybe it's a little foreign to you, oddly enough, because you guys have been rock solid, right? And some people are like that, but yeah. So it's great. That's great. Thank you for your feedback. Dawn Hurst, I'd love to hear. Uh-oh. Did she just go? I think her internet just died. That's funny. Who else? How about you, Bessie? Let's see. I'll unmute you. What was do you have any takeaways from the process of something that you it's more learning about the process than the specifics of the person you spoke to. What do you have to share for us?
Yeah, in talking with person I was with, I discussed how sometimes I feel like a salesperson, that I get away from the open-ended questions. And so I really learned through what you shared and what other people have shared that listening more than trying to tell them what you have to offer or how you can help them, listening for places you can interject in support and to be a cheerleader, even when they haven't made the choice to be on plan or get on the program, but just to really encourage them to take charge of their health and make a new life for themselves. But just really listening well and using the open-ended questions, find out more information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the question. Tell me more. They'll say something and you just go, tell me more about that. And it's just, I don't know, I think it's the most fun piece of what we do is having that conversation where you get to know what makes someone's heart sing and you almost get to help them find their song again. It's beautiful. I'm telling you guys. It's one of the funnest things I've ever done. All right, Dawn, will you want to close us out and give us a few things to think about as we are finishing up our call tonight? Nope, let me unmute you there. Sorry about that. There you go. Green light.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Lots of great things to think about tonight. And so, as you are out and about in your week and talking to people, think about asking those great questions and thinking about really diving in and asking, tell me more, and just get to those details. So have some fun with it and practice your listening skills. Those are so key just for us to be better human beings. And that's really kind of what I love about coaching, is it's just all about, always trying to be the better version of myself and learn and grow. So I want to challenge you to do that and think about jotting some of those things down. So next week, maybe we can share some of those ideas. Also, think about who you might want to invite to just experience our huddle and join in with us. We love having guests. And so with that, I hope everybody has an awesome week. And we will see you next Tuesday on our huddle.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for your participation tonight. Take care.